Racing, the 888 with Chris Cram behind the wheel, another one of those Corvette C8Rs. NSS KookiJar with Daniel Salmon sitting in pit lane right now, and that car behind the wall is also a C8R. So a trio of those cars right now from 11th down to 13th. Then it's 6:13.
Calculated move, but either way, tip of the hat.
Looked like it was a little bit of a mistake. NSS KookiJar with Daniel Salmon has had a bit of a spin. Let's go back and see what caused. Oh, he just ran wide in turn number 6. Ran just straight off the track and got a bit of the tire barrier there, Tom. That was weird. These
GTE cars are sturdy, so that's not really the end of the world there. He's going to be able to get the thing repaired maybe a little bit on that pit stop as well, but he's lost touch with the field, and with a little bit of body damage, you lose some straight line speed, and Daniel Salmon's in for a long, long next 40 or so minutes.
Nathan Block
it's easier to pass someone in a straight line than it is in a corner, and that car is fast in a straight line.
Spectacular racing. They've sorted it for now. Here goes NSS KookiJar, Daniel Salmon going back by Steven Barkovich for LSM team. This is another one of those M8s. NSS KookiJar has been struggling a little bit with some of the slower corners. Turn 5 has really been their Achilles heel today. Going back up to Roman Yolo, he's got Nathan.
Than the 66 in those areas.
Deeper in the field, Daniel Salmon in the NSS KookiJar car. This car went off early and got himself into the tire barrier at the exit at turn 6. You see the right front fender crinkle just at the corner of the headlight, but it hasn't slowed their pace all that much, but they are being chased down by Average J Racing with Joe Ferguson in behind, and that the other Ferrari 488 GTE that's in this field. The other one is driven by Alessandrini out front. A little bit of a scrape on that right front fender for Joe Ferguson, so he's also had an issue. Steven Barkovich is off racing history behind him as we hit lap number 16 here in this race. And KookiJar and Average J Racing going for 16th spot for Apex V2R 881. That's the team driven by Nathan Block, and we'll see if we can get Zach in here in just a moment. He popped in for a second, but there he is. Hey, Zach, you got a copy?
I got a copy. You guys hear me?
I got you. Right now, we're watching a great battle for 16th, but a little while ago, we were watching a battle between your teammate, Nathan Block, and Christopher Cook in the 66 MC Motorsports car. It's been really racy in the opening laps of this race. 2-hour run. How much were you covering your eyes those first 15 laps or so?
Yeah, I've been watching the whole thing. Spotting
25 minutes remaining in this race. We saw Average J Racing and NSS KookiJar going at it for a minute. They've now separated back out to 1.1 seconds between them here, Tom. But kind of working our way towards that first pit stop. Could expect the leaders anytime here. 3 points. This is for 4th place. And just behind Nathan Block, the other Apex V2R car. Average J Racing and Daniel Salmon side by side through turn number 8. Salmon on the inside. Ferguson on the outside in the Ferrari. He's got some damage on that right rear.
These two having a heck of a battle. It's been going on since we talked to our last interview, but it looks like the Corvette now starting to struggle, runs wide coming off the carousel, and that car has damage. We've seen it in the wall. It's going to be slow in a straight line. The Ferrari is really quick in a straight line, but I think Daniel Salmon is making up for it in the corners.
See that splitter.
And he actually hit the wall on the left side, so that's even the good side of the car.
I don't know. This is definitely one of those Craigslist cars that you had to shoot from the perfect angle to not see where it's got damage. Yep. But a little bit of left side damage. What concerns me is that he's damaged the splitter. That's a pretty important component for downforce here, Tom. We saw him struggling in the carousel, and I think those two things probably align. Meanwhile, up in 4th place again.
In front of that car, but probably not much. He got the car mostly stopped before the wall stopped him.
Battle for 11th spot, Jason Roy taking over for NSS KookiJar. James Liebrecht goes off track just slightly, pulls it back on course, loses some ground. 50 minutes to go.
Hang on, swap for 2nd place. SPI Racing is suddenly behind the race control. This is the 3rd time we've seen it pulled twice, so I think they're figuring out what they want to do with it. Something's about to happen with this car.
Yeah, they said that the penalty they can't find something that's under 30 seconds of a penalty, so that's going to be the minimum that they can apply as they stop and hold. Maxime Detilly defending from Sanders as they work by some lap traffic, I believe. Is that the 73 car, or 75, the NSS KookiJar car driven by Jason Roy. Currently 11th on the field. This is the closest battle. I'm not done looking away from it. And looking deeper in the field, here's Jason Roy. Emmett Savage behind in the 880 on a recovery climb. This is for 11th.
Ooh, almost makes contact with the rear diffuser of the Corvette in front, but keeps it clean, goes for the nice setup on exit. Look at the momentum the 880 has onto the front straightaway, pops to the inside, And the question is, does the Porsche have enough straight line speed to complete this pass down to turn 1, or are they going to drag race? It looks like a drag race. Look at the speed of the Corvette.
Yeah, that Corvette has a little bit of damage, which probably isn't helping this scenario, but Emmett Savage pulls alongside into turn 1, and
he
Savage
tapped brakes to make sure that they would go single file. Knew he was going to get that position taken away eventually.
And here's Grid Life RWB.
A little bit of an upper hand, but you can bet we know that VRS is on half of these cars on this grid because they do allow other people to subscribe to their setup services, and they
sort
are
of the
often
point.
very fast.
It's sort of the point of the whole thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
NSS KookiJar with Jason Roy and James Liebrick. These guys actually had a battle earlier that sort of fizzled, but Average J Racing trying to charge back forward after starting this race in 21st up to 12th. So dead last on the grid up to almost the top 10, and here comes 11th just in front, dangling the carrot. I was surprised at how quiet these Ferraris are, and the C8 for that matter.
All three of them, big turbos on a big V8, and all of a sudden they don't make any noise. But a big run, the Ferrari fast in a straight line. We saw that Corvette, how fast it was a couple of laps ago. Now the Ferrari easily motors by, and James Liebrick picks up the position from James Roy. And that's almost into the top 10 for Average J Racing.
Yeah, almost 15 seconds up to Emmett Savage, who's running a good bit quicker, though. So I think that will probably be where that car stays for the last 25 minutes without a little bit of chaos to help him out. Notably, Tony Klusterman has gotten
despite the issues and technical and rules-wise, salvaging what will ultimately look like to be a podium as they're continuing to navigate some of the lap traffic.
Up the inside of the 75 car, that's the NSS KookiJar car driven by Jason Roy. They've done their driver swap and have had an okay day. This car had issues early, found the wall into turn number 6. That's where that crinkle in the right front is from, and then obviously picked up some a little bit of damage on the left side. That hasn't affected them a whole lot, but running 12th right now. And inside the top 10, some drivers that, again, we haven't mentioned a lot, especially with the gaps that we're working with here in the front of the field. NSS KookiJar, driven by Jason Roy, has Darian Roy behind him in the Night Blind Racing number 02. That's one of those big old M8s. A lot of crinkled up damage on this car. And we could see a battle for 12th here before this thing is done and over. That M8 is definitely a big old car in the mirror. 613 Racing car has had an
We do have the BMW Overtake Motorsports that's been sitting on pit lane for a long time. That battle you were watching, actually, now both cars hit pit lane. I think that was KookiJar and the Night Blind cars, both splashing, and Night Blind's going to pick up the position on pit lane.
So KookiJar going to roll out behind him in the Corvette, so pass for position in pit road. A few more cars coming on down. And right back, here comes the Screeching Moose Motorsports car on the outside, a lap ahead of these drivers.
Rounding out the top 10 after 21 cars took the green flag.
Then down the board, Average J Racing comes home in 11th in the number 9 car. Night Blind Racing in 12th. NSS KookiJar in 13th. LSM 14th. And MC Motorsports, that 66 car, was so competitive early, Tom, but not consistent enough.